Where should you invest? Bitcoin, stocks, or Sauternes? That's a tough choice. We'll discuss. Another wine certification is just launched. This one is the TCWF, and it's just what we needed. Quality wine on an American airline. Well, yes, but just not in coach. All that and more on this episode of This Week Uncorked. Hello and welcome to episode 55 of This Week Uncorked for Monday, August 4, 2025. I'm Brett Martin from Cork & Journey. If you're not familiar with Cork & Journey, we are your number one source for corkage fees, as well as winery reviews, wine reviews, restaurant reviews, regional wine guides, and much, much more. And with all that, let's get into this week's news. We got a lot to cover. All right, we're going to start off with our lead story, which was from Jancis Robinson from her blog, and she actually wrote this one. And she's making a compelling case for buying Sauternes now, basically saying that they might be a good investment. They're completely out of fashion. People aren't drinking them. There's a bunch of them. The quality vintages are out there. The prices are right. And so now is the time to sell your Bitcoin, buy Sauternes, hold on to it for the long term. At least it's something tangible you can touch. From the article, you may think me crazy, but I would suggest buying fine Sauternes now. There's absolutely no shortage of it, and it's so unfashionable currently that prices are ridiculously modest in view of the difficulty of making it. Far cheaper than equivalent red Bordeaux. In my long career, I've seen so many reversals of trends that I feel Sauternes and its neighbor Barsac, shown in detail on this World Atlas wine map, that's what you'll see if you read the article, are bound to find favor again. That's because the best last almost forever. It doesn't really matter how long this takes. So, are you going to go buy some Sauternes? I think I might. Jancis, she could be my new investment advisor. Merrill Lynch, Jancis Robinson, we'll put it all together. All right, moving right along. Hey, the Napa Valley Wine Academy launches its Taste Coach Wine Fundamentals Certification. That's the TCWF, not the WTF, the TCWF certification. It's interesting because they are one of the top WSET training companies in the world. They're based out of Napa, so they've decided to come up with their own course. It's an alternative to the WSET1, which will cost you a few $100s. This costs you $99, basically focusing less on theory, more on actual tasting, more on the wine. Could be worth checking out if you're just getting into the world of wine. It's interesting as Tina and I kind of travel all over the place. We're constantly asking somms, hey, what are your certifications? I would say 90% of the people we come across are WSET. The other 10% are from the court. Actually, I should say the other 9% are from the court. Then there's 1% that just won't even tell us. Well, it doesn't matter. It's all the same. That actually happened at the French Laundry. Yeah, anyway, no idea. But, certifications do matter. I think it's important to have a wine education. I will say that as you get up there, so much of it is theory. Where this river meets and that river meets and what's the name of the wind that blows through, and it goes on and on and on and on and on. This seems to be a very practical, basic certification for somebody just wanting to get into wine. So why not? Shout out to the Napa Valley Wine Academy. Nice job. And moving on with the news here, Shafer Vineyards, 1.5 Cabernet Sauvignon, with their 2021, which got like 96 points from Jeb Dupnick and Wine Enthusiasts. Basically, they're serving it on United Airlines in their Polaris business class cabins. It's a $130, $140 bottle of wine. I don't think I've had it, but I will because in just a few weeks' time, I'm in Paris right now on this long journey we're going through. A few weeks' time, we're actually going to be flying back on United, on Polaris business class, heading back to Las Vegas. And so I will try this. But, from the press release, 1.5, a balanced and elegant Cabernet Sauvignon sourced from top Napa Valley vineyards is setting a new standard for premium in-flight wine service. Hailed by critics as one of the top Cabernet Sauvignons from Napa Valley, the 2021 1.5 has earned outstanding acclaim, receiving scores of 96 points from both global wine critic Jeb Dupnick and Wine Enthusiast. Like I said, we'll be flying Polaris. I'll check it out. It is nice to have some decent wines on any kind of flight, we find that it can be really difficult no matter what class you're flying in. They're warm, they're not properly stored, they're not properly chilled, they're kind of plonk. It just doesn't matter. So, hey, maybe it's a nice Napa Valley Cab, and we will try it out. And wrapping up the news is from the Santa Maria Times. Yes, we dig deep. Modesto-Based Gallo is closing their Central Coast winery. Basically, they're permanently closing the Courtside Winery facility in San Miguel, laying off 47 people, shutting the whole thing down by December 1st of this year. They're basically slowly retreating from California's Central Coast. Gallo's the biggest privately held wine producer, and so it's kind of interesting to see them kind of pull out of California in various ways, and most of their employees are in California, but they are really kind of consolidating their overall portfolio as they go down. So from the article, the downturn in the wine market has hit California wine industry hard, as can be seen from those counties that have published their 2024 crop reports. That includes Santa Barbara County, which reported wine grape values down 28% from the year before, Monterey County reporting a decline of 22%, and Napa County announcing wine grape values down 14.4%, as well as a decline in production of 23,632 tons, or almost 14%. San Luis Obispo is yet to report, but is expected to follow a similar trend. The allied grape growers continue to advocate for vineyard removal across the state, including Central Coast, but the industry group says coastal growers brought more bearing acres into production in 2024 than vine acreage was pulled. So they added more acreage than they pulled. We've been talking about it forever. There's a glut. It'll reverse. They're going to rip these vineyards out. They're doing it here in France. France actually paid to have a bunch of these vineyards ripped out so that you can kind of stabilize the overall demand versus production. And this will all turn around in 5 years. And they'll be like, we got to plant more grapes because, demand's outstripping production and then prices will go up. But right now, great time to buy. And with that, let's move into our wine and winery of the week. All right, Crawford Family Wines in Solvang, California. This is a small little family winery. They have a lovely little tasting room in Solvang. We dropped in there, kind of went through their Pinot Noirs, their Chardonnays, their own style wines. Decent stuff. Well worth checking them out if you are in Solvang. I've kind of been on a Solvang trend here the last few weeks. These things kind of go that way. About 2-3 months after Tina and I visit a wine region, we do all the reviews, we do all the tastings. They kind of make the show here. But this was a pleasant little one, kind of just dropped right in there. I want to say they're across from the Sanger tasting room, just kind of midtown on the main drag there in Solvang. Total family affair. The daughter of the winemaker and owner waited on us. She was lovely. We had a nice time. And with that, we'll kind of point out one of theirs that was really nice, which was their 2019 Crawford Family Wines Second Street Cuvée. This was a blend of 40% Grenache, 40% Mourvedre, or Mourvedre, however you choose to say it, and 20% Syrah. Santa Rita Hills, we gave it 90 points, $46, really decent wine, worth checking out. So if you're down in Solvang, add this one to your list. We've done our kind of Mexico Baja guide for Valle de Guadalupe. I think we'll be doing another one for Solvang coming out soon and kind of that surrounding region. With that, let's check out our restaurant and Corkage of the week. All right, we're jumping back to Las Vegas to Mother Wolf. Thumpa, 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 thumpa. Yeah, I said a hip, a hop, a hibbity hop hop. My goodness, what an odd restaurant. This place is in the Fontainebleau, and it is a kind of straight up old school Italian restaurant. A lot of Italian waiters, decent, good food. Chef Evan Funk, he loves it. But man, read the crowd because they blared hip hop the entire meal. Now, I like hip hop. I'm a hip hop guy. But seriously, and it was 80s hip hop. Great, good. But just non-stop hip-hop, to the point where at first you don't notice it, but then your head is about to explode. And this is a kind of a Roman restaurant, Roman-themed, Roman dishes. And we were just in Rome, and I was at the Pantheon, and I was at the Colosseum, and they weren't playing hip-hop. So I'm telling you what, Evan, get with the program and kind of change the music up a little bit. to something more appropriate. Other than that, really good food. It is expensive, going to cost you $100 plus, but really, really decent. They do have a $50 corkage fee. Again, that's kind of middle of the road for Vegas. Not a bad corkage fee. The wine list was very good, but very pricey, so bringing your own bottle would not be a bad idea. And that is going to wrap it up for yet another episode of This Week Uncorked. I want to thank everybody so much for joining us. We would love it if you would subscribe to us on YouTube and follow us on your favorite podcast app. Until next week, everybody, cheers.